Short answer, yes, and yes. Alright, Satisfactory 1.0. I don't have any kind of script written out for this video or anything, so it's kind of just going to be off the cuff. This is amazing. It's great. Absolutely love it. You will hear me gripe. You will hear me say a few things, but to be honest, they can mostly be ignored because it's very hyper-specific gripes. Since this has come out, have put in 141 hours onto my single-player world that released after 1.0. And we'll load in and take a bit of a look at it. I'll try not to spoil much of anything. Big changes with 1.0. There's a lot of new quality of life. There's a lot of new... I didn't realize I was over here. There's a lot of new quality of life features. There's a lot of new reordering of a lot of the technologies. There's a lot more dialogue lines without getting in any spoilers. And the game just feels a lot better balanced and a lot better paced. There are some personal gripes that I have, and actually spawning here is a good lead into it. I think this has to do with my roundabouts being too small, because these are the smallest you can get roundabouts in this game. And like these switches having to be forced into weird positions. But the trains, which is there one coming? I thought that was all one coming. Basically, yeah. So whenever they come to this intersection, they don't go the right way. Let me see here. This is going to the heatsink pickup. Okay, I think that one actually went the right way. Of course, the first one I look at actually does go the right way. But, for instance, I've had it happen where, like, trains coming this way, trying to go straight will instead go right and try to go through this train station to come back to go straight. It doesn't make any sense. I've deconstructed and reconstructed this thing multiple times. To be honest, I think it's just the roundabout's too small. And the other main gripe I'm going to get into, trains in this game, while they're good, you will be spoiled if you're coming from Factorio and you utilize trains heavily in Factorio. If you don't utilize trains heavily in games, these are going to be great. They're going to be fun. You're going to have a wonderful time. If you're used to having depots, not happening. And you might think, hey, that looks a little like a depot. It's not a depot. So I can actually go over here to show you what kind of setup this is, so you can kind of understand what's going on here. In the early game, actually I'll come over here first. You see these buildings on the ground. These buildings on the ground I built very early on. And there are various factories for different stuff, so like, I can't remember what this one produces. I think this one's like Caterium, if I'm not mistaken. Let me switch my jetpack so I can like fly forward a little faster. See over here, you have a Caterium mine making a bunch of quick wire. Oh, these dimensional depots. Oh my god. If you're coming from Update 8 or Update 7 or whenever you played last, these dimensional depots are a game changer. Literally, it's enabled me to just build a factory wherever I want, put the output uploading to a dimensional depot, and like literally I just have access to anything I want at all times. It's great. Now if you wanted a bit more consistency in your factory, you could also sync the extra so that you don't have all your factories shutting down all the time, because my power variance is crazy because most of my factories aren't ever on. It's like my max consumption is 33,000, but my actual consumption is 10,000. But all these ground-based factories I built initially, and also you might notice my jetpack is able to fly for a long time. It's not going, it doesn't have a lot of upward thrust, but it's able to fly for a long time because this liquid biofuel is actually amazing. Well, let's look at one of these right here. This is basically, I want to say once I got past phase 3, once I really got into trains, this has been a majority of my gameplay. Obviously, your gameplay is going to look a little different if you're doing non-rail based systems. But basically, we have an input and output line. We have 3 units of materials coming in that are dropping off stuff. So, like, these are dropping off computers, and they're making our radio control units. I don't know what they're. I had to abbreviate because you don't have much space to write on this. This is importing oscillators. This is importing aluminum casing, and then the output is those control units. So basically, at every single one of these, I wish there was a zoom button, but at every single one of these factories that you see up in the air, where you have multiple train depots, you basically have a dedicated train line running from another factory to here. Basically, components going to factories, going to an output, going to other factories, going to an output, going to other factories, yada yada yada. So everything comes down here, goes into a few manufacturers. Sometimes manufacturers I'll put in summer sloops because this is another feature that they added. This is amazing. This doubles the output at a cost of massively increasing the power consumption. But, you know, you have this at 250% clock speed. It's like 2.5 manufacturers are running instead of 1. You put the output multiplier on, and suddenly this one manufacturer has the output of 5 manufacturers over, you know, its set time. So, of course, everything is going into a depot. This one actually, this must be the last one I built. This one actually isn't hooked up to a output. I must have not actually needed to use these yet. But most of the other ones are hooked up to the outputs already. And it may be that this kind of base design doesn't work the best whenever you reach a certain threshold of trains. Because everything's kind of local. I tried to keep it all kind of in one biome. And you can see, I've got a lot of fucking trains. I think actually you can see about how many trains I have if I go to put down another station. Let's go to transport, train station. Can I just put it over here or something? Please? Pretty please? Come on. Oh wait, no, that's a platform. Okay. So, Station 71. This is the 71st station I've placed, because after you run out of alphabetical names, they just start doing numbers. So, it's either this the 71st station I've placed, or I went through every letter of the alphabet, then 71 after that. One of the two. These roundabouts do work a lot better than the three-way intersections I had. The three-ways were causing blockages constantly. But still, even with these trains set up to keep them off the track as much as possible, it's still a bit much. I think every single one of these trains, I have them set up to never leave the station unless they are full or if they have been sitting there for more than like 5 or 6 minutes. And it's still a bit too much, to be honest. If I had this spread out across the entire world, it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal. Or if I was instead using like half belts, half trains, it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal. But the problem I've been having with trains taking incorrect pathing means I'm probably not going to be finishing the game anytime soon, especially with the Factorio Space Age DLC released. And for those of you that are coming from Factorio that do use trains a lot, you might be wondering, what is the big difference? What makes trains subpar in this versus those trains? Not saying that these trains are bad, they're just not the same. And for that, I'm actually going to pause this recording and pull up Factorio real quick. Alright, so I had to download a creative mod because I'm not that far in on Space Age, and I don't want to, like... Well, I don't really have the materials to do this quickly in my own world. Otherwise, I'd do it there. But, basically, in Factorio, you have this basic idea of the depot, where basically you can have your trains and you can actually set it up. There we go. So that you can have multiple stations like this, and basically you'd have trains coming in. Well, okay. Usually your lines will be a bit farther apart than this, but we'll just say it works for now. So you'd have like an input line, they'd come in, pick a station, and then they'd have an output line where they're going out. And you'd have all these stations that you could name different things. In Satisfactory, you can't have multiple stations with the same name. Well, you can, but it won't matter. Whenever this train leaves the station, it's going to pick the closest station with the correct name to go to, even if a train's already there. So, give me just a second. I'm going to clean this up a little bit and set up an actual loop so you can see exactly what I mean. Okay, I'm sure this looks complicated as fuck, but there's a reason I built all this. I'm going to take it one step at a time. I didn't actually hook up the power to these. Let me do that real quick. Okay, there we go. So, basically, the big difference is two things. One, smart pathing with trains, and two, train limits. Smart pathing means, basically, if I... Let me just hop in this train and tell it to go somewhere. So I tell the train to go here. That's just a little feature you can do. You can just control click on a track to like make a temporary stop. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. And then it's going to wait for 5 seconds and delete this temporary stop if I just let it time out. But I'm actually going to let it wait. So this is going to go to Iron Drop-Off. If you'll notice, all of these stations are named Iron Drop-Off. And it picked the closest one. If there was a train already here, it would have picked the next one up. And the reason it would have done that is because of train limits. If we look at this station, there's a train limit of 1, meaning one train can reserve this station at any given time. Just to prove that, do I have any coal on me? Let me grab some coal. And then ride back over here. I do have another locomotive on me. So I'm going to shift right click to copy this train settings. Something that I wish you could do in Satisfactory. You can copy machine settings, just not train settings. So I'm going to paste the train here. This is all signaled so it won't actually leave this station until the train's pulled out. And then let me just set a train here, paste that, give it a little bit of fuel so that it can make the journey back, and then turn it on. And if we go into our original train, we can watch its path. It automatically is going here. And we see this first train automatically rerouted to this other one. Also, I didn't actually finish properly signaling this. See, this is designating this entire thing as a block. I never put any signals over here. So let me just put some signals to show that these are open. Okay. So yeah, multiple trains can be assigned to multiple train stations that have the same name, and train limits make that possible. But it gets better than that too, because you can also use the same train station names for the places that you go to pick up too. I basically just copy pasted this one design right here. The reason it looks like this is because I put in this little buffer right here so that if you look at the train station, this actually has a limit of 3, meaning one can be here loading, one can be here waiting in this dock, and one can be here waiting in this dock. And then if you come down here, I just copy pasted it a couple of times over. All 3 of these stations have the same name and the same train limit, which means that I can have 9 trains running in this system at once. Now, I would need more depots to accommodate for the 9 trains whenever they all come back, but it's very easy to add more trains. You know, let's say I want more trains. I've got bots. Just fucking build another depot. You know? And then I would also have offloading here. Now, you might think this is only useful for, like, mining patches. Like, you have a mining patch way over here, 10,000 meters away, one over here, 5,000 meters away. You name them the same thing. Trains can just freely go to whichever one's open. It's really cool. It's really nice. But what other application does it have? Well, the application that I'm trying to use, where I have multiple different factories all over the place. If I had the ability to name these factories the same thing and just have one train service whichever one is open, it would be a game changer. I would be able to have so many more trains with so much more smart shit going on, especially if the trains were smart enough to reroute as they're going. Because as it stands right now, I'm going to just put this on manual, in Satisfactory, if I took this train to one of the mining outposts, and in Satisfactory I'd have to name the mining outposts different ones. There's like mining outpost 1, mining outpost 2, mining outpost 3. Whenever this train came back, if I just told it, hey, go to the drop-off, it would do this. It would come right here. It would stop because of the signal. And now every other train that's coming behind it is going to be backed up on the track, because whenever this left iron drop-off 2 or whatever, it automatically wants to reserve the closest one it can find, even though there's a train already here. If you want to do a depot in Satisfactory, you have to do it like this. It's kind of hard to copy this. If you want to do a depot in Satisfactory, oh damn, it might be impossible to copy. Let's just do this then. You have to do it like this, where you basically have train stations back to back to back to back, and you'd still have to rely on the first one leaving the station first. Again, if you design a very big, wide base that covers the entire map where there's a lot of travel time between it, you're probably not going to run into this issue. If you use a lot of belts, you're probably not going to run into this issue. But just a cautionary tale, if you decide to mega base, try not to bring over all of your Factorio designs, because the trains aren't quite as smart. And I haven't seen any kind of mods that make them as smart. I'm assuming that would be a massive leap in programming logic in order to make them like that. And Factorio might be able to spare that massive leap because, you know, it's top-down, it's 2.5D, and it's can devote more to, like, calculations, maybe, on the back end. I don't know how that all works. But anyway. Overall, final verdict. I don't like giving scores, but if I had to give a score, I'd put this bitch at like a 9 out of 10. Not Factorio Space Age. That I'll talk about later. Well, let me actually get back over here. Satisfactory 1.0. Highly, highly recommend. Had a ton of fun playing all the way through. The only time I wasn't having fun was right near the end, when I started doing the hooking up all the factory to factory to factory connections and was running into train issues. But that's something that I'm planning on fixing at some point anyway. Nilaus, a very prolific Factorio YouTuber, released a video where he actually designed a main hub in Satisfactory. That's probably what I'm going to do to this world. Whenever I eventually come back and I want to finish this, and I do want to finish it, and like beat the game, basically what I'm going to do is probably tear most of this down, put a big concrete floor in, and make a main bus. Because that seemed like it was a really cool thing. I really want to try it. Sounds really fun. I know I spent a large portion of this video talking about the trains and the train gripe, but honestly, as long as you know that going in, if you were like a train head in Factorio, then just keep that in mind going in, and you're going to have a great time. If you're not a train head, nothing to worry about. You know? And if you have any problems like this, I would actually recommend posting it to the the Satisfactory subreddit, because this is the kind of thing that they'd probably help you with. I know what the problem probably is. I may try to like redesign these to be bigger roundabouts at some point and see if that fixes it. If not, I'll definitely go for the large main bus style base. But it's probably going to be a little while before I do that because I am very deep in the throes of Factorio Space Age at the moment. Which, I may make a little video about that, but that one's not going to be as retrospective of a video because I still haven't even gotten off Novice yet in Space Age. So yeah, overall, if you're a returning player who hasn't played in a while, if you're somebody who isn't sure if they want to play this game, if you like this style of game, I would 100% dive headfirst. It is great. It is a lot of fun. I would absolutely recommend it. You can easily sink hundreds of hours into worlds on this game with no problem. And I would definitely highly recommend it. I have played this with friends before. It's always great fun playing with friends. I didn't get to play with friends for this release, unfortunately. I think everybody was a bit busy with real life stuff, playing Sons of the Forest, stuff like that. But it's something that we still might do at some point. You know, it's still on the table. I think I had to check the price really quick. Let me look. Currently, the game is on Steam for $40. I think that is well worth. To be honest, I'd consider paying $60 for this game, to be honest. But, you know, you can always wait for a sale. This game does go on sale regularly, something unlike Factorio. Factorio never goes on sale. But definitely well worth the $40, well worth the time, and definitely a recommendation from me. If you like this kind of video, maybe sub, maybe comment, like, all that good shit. If you don't, maybe don't, you know, whatever. If you want to see more of this kind of content, maybe you want to see a certain game talked about, maybe put that down in the comments. Or if you just want to hear me talk about some random shit, maybe put that down in the comments. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.